Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey folks.
So it seems like Alex's mic is having some kind of issues. It's super loud, so I've muted it for now. I DM'd him to see if he can fix it. Hey Alex, can you say something?
Hello. Yeah.
Hey. Okay, yeah, it's fixed now. Thank you.
Is it okay now?
Yeah,
Good.
awesome. Good to hear you, man.
Good to hear. Yes. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I hope I'm gonna be able to share my screen. I had some issues last time, but let's see.
Okay, sure. Okay. Okay.
Is it visible?
One sec. Yeah, it works. Right, so let's wait for like 20 more seconds for people to come in. Then we can start. All right. Welcome, guys, to the Matchbox Weekly Dev Call. I think today is going to be a great call. We finally have the NOGame presentation that we wanted to do a while ago already, but Alex had some issues, so he's been a bit busy. But we will get it today as promised. And we also have a few other updates, which are also going to be great. And we have an update on the game clock by II Captain. We have some news around the music tools by Casey. Sirix Nonsense is here to give us an update on the VRF. It's also been a while since we heard something about that. And then Mist is here, who was previously already presenting Arcane, which was this wizard RPG grid style game, but he's now rebranding that to Odyssey, specifically for Starknet. So he's going to talk a bit about that, and yeah, very excited about that. So without further ado, I think we can just get into it. So Alex, stage is yours.
Hello everybody. It's been a while since I've given any update on NOGame, but finally we have something. Before I present anything, I would like to say a disclaimer that this is a preview, a very limited version of the game. The idea is to have of the game released in an incremental fashion, so starting from a very small amount of features and then increasing it with the time. Let's start. I did create some planet already because it's gonna take a while to mint a new one, so I'm just gonna switch account. Let's see if I get the right one. No.
Hello,
So I will
guys.
share the link. I will share the link to the game in the chat. So maybe you can, if you want to try it while I'm presenting it. Well, anyway. When you get to the link to the game, you get presented with this screen, and you got the resources on the left side, your address, and generate planet. So basically, you click generate planet, you sign your transaction, very cheap, as you can see. So yeah. transaction is going through. I have another planet already minted, so I'm gonna open that one. It's the right one. So yeah, every time you switch account, obviously you refresh the page, and it's gonna get you to the new planet. Sorry, that was the wrong one. You can have just one planet for each account. If you try to transfer the NFT to an account that has one already, it's gonna revert. This is not right one. Okay. Right, so once the planet is minted, you get this page. You have your NFT image here. These are some data from the metadata that are now not, they don't make any effect in the game at the moment. They probably will in the future, so the planet size, the temperature, and this is the NFT ID. On the left, you have free resources, which are metal, which is the cheapest and easiest to mine, and crystal. Both of them are used to build new buildings, and deuterium, which is used mostly for as a fuel, but is also used to develop some researches. And this is the energy level. When you start, you will get sent these resources as ERC20, and what you have to do, you just click on the small icon here, which copies the ERC20 address. You just go on your wallet, and you add a token. Yeah. So you do this for all three resources. Okay, so you see they're loading already. You can see the tokens in your wallet. After that, you can start developing your mines. I'm going to go through the tabs here for now. So in the resources tab, you have the free mines, the principal mines, and a solar plant for the energy. In the facilities, for now, you just have robot factory, which is now you're not able to develop because you don't have enough resources. You can see the current level. The completion time updates when you start upgrading a structure, and it gives you the countdown basically. And this is the resources necessary to develop the structure. As you can see, we need 200 deuterium, which we don't have at the moment, so we can't develop this. The research tab is coming soon. This will be implemented in the next version, as well as the shipyard will be implemented in the next version. And the fleet movements will be implemented in the third version of the game. So let's try and update some structures. Because we have zero energy, the first structure we want to build is the solar plant. Otherwise, we will not be able to mine any resources. So the update works in two transactions basically. You start upgrade by signing the first transaction. And after a while, when the transaction has been accepted, this will turn blue. When it's ready, basically when the time is completed, and you just send another transaction to complete upgrade basically. And yeah, so As you can see, my switch account. So once the structure is completed, this is a different count. Obviously, the level is higher. Should update in a second. You can see that, yeah, these resources, as you can see, are the same as here. There's another thing about the resources that at some point you will see that you have more resources here than in your wallet. This is because the resources that needs to be collected. These amounts, it gives you how much resources you build so far, but you need to send another transaction to collect them and have them sent to your wallet. So basically, until you don't collect them, you can't spend them basically. Okay. Also, you can see your NFT in your wallet. I got many now because most of them are test. But when you start playing, you just have one. And you can also see it in Aspect. If you go to Aspect homepage, you will have NOGame collection. And there we go. You got all the planets here. Every planet is different. They have different metadata. But for now, the images are just 15 different planet images. So we'll probably develop more nicer images in the future. But for now, it's like that. This is the metadata. All the data are on IPFS. So they are basically immutable. Let's see if the transactions come through in the other account. Not yet. This just want to show you how to complete the transaction. Yeah, so you can also go to the Notion page of the game to see the specs. And an interesting thing about the resource production is that every level, every mine level costs more and gives consume more energy and gives you more resources per hour. But the way the formula works is that in the beginning, to make back the resources spent to upgrade a mine, it takes very little time. But higher the level, the more time it takes to make back the resources. So there's a kind of a plateau where it's not convenient anymore to upgrade mines, and you need to find different ways to make resources if you want to advance with the points. Also, there's a score here, which basically is calculated at every 1,000 resources spent, get 1 point. The idea was to have also like kind of like a leaderboard here, but we need to find a backend developer to develop this feature still. Yeah, let's see. Is this free yet? Not yet. Sadly, Girl has been a bit slow recently. Yeah, I would like to thank the guys at Cartridge, Calvin, for the design, which has been very nice to help us, and also Tim and Drew for developing the front end. They did a great job. And yeah, also if you want to have more detailed description of the formulas and how they work, I'm gonna link this page as well, which is the official game mine of informations. You got all the formulas, how they work, and all the steps, all the levels, how much resources, how much they cost, and etc. And I will link everything in the NOGame channel in the Discord. And if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for presenting that. It's great to see the progress. It's really taking shape now. I guess I have one question, and that is, have you thought about using or basically integrating a session wallet key, so people don't have to sign every single transaction, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah. For now, this is something that it's very far in the future as a development. But I know that someone was working on wallets where you can just sign one transaction and give just the trust for a session, kind of. So it's not in my fault at the moment. I know that the UI is not perfect. What I'm focusing at the moment is to have a working product, something that is working, and then I will develop a better UI from there.
Yeah, totally get that. It makes perfect sense. I was just wondering if that's on your radar at all.
It is, of course.
Okay.
I do realize that, yeah, it's very clunky at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, awesome update. It's looking great. Do we have
Okay.
any questions for Alex for NOGame? Maybe I have a question in terms of the future versions. What's the timeline for that, roughly?
Yeah, the plan is to have facilities and researchers ready for the next version. We are very close to it, and the shipyard as well. So we're gonna have a research lab in this tab, a research lab, shipyard. We are gonna have solar satellites for the energy as well, along with the solar plant. We're gonna have all the researches, and we can find more details in this page. And we will have most of the ships of the original game. So we will have to develop researches to develop ships. And for the third version, once this three tasks basically will be well established and we know that are working properly, we will develop the fleet movements where player will start to be able to interact. Also, it's my idea to have a slightly modified version of ERC20 because at the moment it's very easy to just create as many planets as possible and just send yourself resources for the different accounts, right? So maybe have a ERC20 let's say modification where it takes a time lock to based on the planet position to just send resources basically. So it's not instant transfer. It takes a while. And
Makes sense. But couldn't you create a wrapper for that token and then basically just wrap it and then send that again?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
Yeah, like if you want to have like a special ERC20 version with a time lock built in, then people can just create a wrapper for that token and wrap it to some other token and then send the token anyway, right? So they can circumvent that potentially.
What do you mean, like create a token? In what sense?
Like I could be wrong about this, but we see this in DeFi sometimes where tokens have some rules built in, and then somebody just creates a wrapped version of that token, and they can send the wrapped version anyway.
Oh, the wrap version.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this. So the way the token is used in the game is that there's a storage that holds basically the token address, and those tokens are the only ones that basically you can use in the game. I don't know. I'm not sure I understand very well your question.
Okay, sure,
Anyway,
no problem. Maybe it's better if I write it in the NOGame channel, so it's more detailed. But yeah, thank you so much for the update. It's really looking great. Looking forward to see this mature, and I think it's going to be a great game. It looks great.
sure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna stop sharing.
All right. Next up, we actually have an update by I Captain on the game clock, but it seems like he's not on the call. I'll try to ping him, and then let's just proceed with an update on music tools by Casey. Casey, if you're ready.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hey.
Great. So, just big picture, the first demo POC that I'm, going to be demonstrating is to upload a melody via MIDI to StarkNet and then retrieve that melody with harmonized MIDI notes and play in a UI editor. And so I've got the MIDI player rolling and have a basic UI that allows MIDI editing and loading files and that kind of stuff. But as of lately, my focus has been building out the auto harmonization contracts. Uh, and I'm looking to finish those up in the next few days. And these will be the ones that will take that melody and then we'll harmonize it based on a specified criteria. The sort of task that I'm hoping to get to at the end of the week is packing all of this MIDI into felt for uploading and retrieval. And Guilty Gyoza is helping me out. He's with the variable length quantity MIDI message portion, which is really helpful. And I've been feathering that in while finishing up the harmonization contracts. That'll be my focus by the end of the week. And yeah, at that point, then it's really just able to connect to the UI editor and I'll be able to finally show this thing off.
Yeah, that's awesome. Looking forward to seeing that actually in action and see what it looks like and what it can do. Yeah, great update. You're currently touring, right?
Yeah, I'm in like this weird alpine city in Colorado. I was in Denver last night. Actually, got to hang out with Dr. Spaceman from Starkware, which was great. And but it's great because between sound check and line check, I can code all day. So it's really accommodating for this. And yeah, I'm just in the dressing room coding up Cairo before and after the show.
That's awesome. Yeah, really cool. That you got to meet Dr. Spaceman as well. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's great.
yeah. Thank you so much for the update. Short but sweet. Yeah, looking forward to seeing that thing. It's going to be great. Um, yeah. I Captain is still not here. Seems like he can't quite make it. So let's skip to VRF by Sirix Nonsense. What have you been cooking up?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. I wrote up a document, sent it to No Process, so you can probably feel in like the meeting notes or what have you. So to summarize, if I'm gonna kind of keep it more of a developer presentation, where we have this sort of approach that I've been working on for a little while, where player is forming actions to a game contract that then will receive RNG from the DRAND network, which is a neutral randomness beacon that runs on the public internet. Sort of the main lift for the VRF is the section here on the right, which would be sending the RNG from the DRA network onto StarkNet, then running a verification algorithm on the signature of that randomness. And that's sort of the summarization of this first paragraph here. So what I've been doing along with a engineer at Ethermind, Albert Guerreta, is we've made 3 libraries that sort of aid in this process. And the reason why we needed a few libraries is the DRAND elliptical curve is the BLS 12381 curve. 381 stands for the amount of bits that the field modulus has. So basically, we needed a bigger number in StarkNet. And so we made this library here, UN384 Cairo. If folks are familiar with UN 256, this is just adding a, right here you can see sort of the delta between UN 256 and UN 384, where we add another 128 bits. And interface is more or less a carbon copy of the UN 256 library. This is a kind of cool library because there is eventually the Ethereum 2 will use, I think, the BLS curve. So Darknet will probably use this structure to communicate with that when that happens. And so moving forward from this sort of base UN384 structure is we have field arithmetic over 384-bit number. And this is also a published source library. And then what we've sort of wrapping up is, and I just kind of briefly explain why we are making like tick library is in order to make the calculations as performant as possible. We've gotten our own hints whitelisted. This is an example of one of those hints. If for folks not familiar with Cairo, a hint is Python code that runs that is ran by the prover, and then we run a shorter snippet of Cairo code to verify the results of that Python code running. So I just wanted to just highlight that because we spent a lot of time trying to make this library as performant as possible, because what we're going to see is that what we've been finding during testing of sort of the end-to-end verification process is that these operations are taking millions of steps, which is more than million-step threshold per transaction that StarkNet has right now. It's also just sort of from a feasibility of gas cost. It's quite much. So I briefly kind of go over sort of the calculations of the steps for a certain operation that we use in the verification process. And basically what we're finding right now is that even with these optimizations, that the verification is still too slow. So what we're going to be doing now is we're sort of taking like one last look at how we can speed up the verification algorithm, and then sort of depending on whether we can do that or not, we might pivot from using DRAND to either another service or a making our own VRF service. And regardless, though, 3 libraries I highlighted will be open to the public, and I think we'll still see quite a bit of use in other contexts. And so, lastly, I guess, just sort of looking at the pros and cons of the fact that we might not be able to use DRAND is that, well, the DRAND gave us really easily some robustness as a RNG provider or a randomness beacon. Well, first of all, it after kind of really attacking this problem for a while, it's kind of clear that there's just some limitations in performance, and then also the DRAND is kind of slow when it comes to how often it posts RNG. So with that said, as we look to a new service, not only will we be able to make it more performant, but also we won't have that time constraint of 5 seconds per round of RNG. Then sort of the challenge then will be engineering that robustness and neutrality ourselves in the randomness beacon that we will make. So if I ramble a little bit there, but basically the situation right now is finding DRAND a little too slow to verify, so we need a more convenient elliptic curve set of operations that we can perform on StarkNet to get a VRF in production.
All right, and have you looked at different solutions yet, or like what's the like what are the next steps?
Well, so as far as looking at, so there's not many public randomness beacons. There is the like VRFs that we're familiar with on Ethereum, like the Chainlink VRF. The thing about the Chainlink VRF is that it's not like a neutral, like kind of network of randomness providers. It's the Chainlink network, which has sort of like slashing mechanisms in place and things like that, to sort of make the VRF network run. So it's a question of, do we want to create a DRAND like network ourselves, or do we want to create sort of more of a Chainlink service? And each of those has pros and cons, I guess, or different challenges. So, and just to sort of also give more context, we just started testing end to end. So, sort of next steps, we're still taking one last look at the performance of what we can do there. So I haven't looked too deeply into, the next approach.
Okay, so I can give you 2 pointers. There's, I'm not sure if you're familiar with these, but there's Pontus on StarkNet, I think, which is an Oracle network, and they are building a VRF as well. I can't really speak to their approach because I frankly don't know how they are doing it, but I know they're working on it. It will be a couple months until they release that, I think. I also don't know if they're building in public or if it's private for now, so, but just as a general pointer, it's called Pontus, I think. So might be a good idea to look at them. And there's also just recently an Oracle service on StarkNet that just launched, which is called Stork, StarkNet Oracle, so Stork. I don't think they are working on VRF right now, or maybe they're working on it, but it's not released yet. But they have some price feeds on StarkNet already for USDC and ETH and so on. So might also be good to maybe talk to them if they are working on VRF as well. So I just want to give you 2 pointers. I don't know if you're familiar with them already, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. I wasn't familiar with Pontus. I think I might have seen this price feed oracles, and that's something I'll definitely be looking at. And thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's hope some kind of solution can be found that works faster and more performant. But yeah, thank you so much for the update. It's been great to hear from you again.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for listening in.
Awesome. Yeah, then next up we have, it seems like Captain can't make it to the call, unfortunately. So we'll have to postpone that to next week. But we have one final presentation, and that's going to be by Mist, and he's been building Arcane. Now he's kind of switched gears to Odyssey. So Mist, if you're ready, we're eager to hear what that's all about.
Yeah, sure, guys. Hi, everyone. And wanted to say I'm Etel as well. The game looks super cool. Cannot wait to play it. Yeah, there's been some changes with Arcane because as I discussed with the Matchbox team, it's been weeks that I've been thinking about the whole situation, and I initially, as you guys know, the plan was to just port one-of-one the existing Arcane from Arbitrum. So I have like each contract replicated and such. But after a while, it made less sense to me, not only from like a technical standpoint, because it means that I have to like take care of 2 ecosystems and 2 different games. And it brings like a lot of questions, right? If you change some stuff in one of the games and you don't do it in the other, how can I take advantage of the power of the Starknet in one version and then not put it in the other one? So that's a little bit confusing technically, but it's also a little bit confusing for the users, right? Because they're going to be here thinking which version of the game should I be, what's the difference between the 2. It muddies everything in a way that's not very optimal, and yeah, it didn't feel comfortable. So I went back to the drawing board, and the first thing I asked myself was, what's the great thing about Arcane, and what's the foundation of the game that I think is really interesting and that hasn't been used that much before. And the answer to that for me is the grid, right? I don't know if you guys know, but in Arcane, the wizards go on quest in zones, and each zone is a 2D array, so X and Y, and it gives the on-chain NFT questing like an additional spatial dimension. And even though it's not like moving inside like a AAA game where you run around, it's still on a grid with integers. It gives a sense of movement, and it's like a board where people move around, and it brings up quite interesting possibilities down the line. One of them is really to have different kind of loots coming from different types of tiles. So if you're standing on tile 2 or 3, you'll have there's a temple on that tile, and you'll have different chances of looting stuff than where you're on tile 6, 7 or something. So that was like the main attraction for me, because I thought it's cool for people to have a spatial sense inside their adventure. And furthermore, the plan has always been to allow other protocols to interact with this grid, and to allow players which are questing on certain tiles to loot certain 1155s or 721s from their protocol. So let's say I make a partnership with another protocol, and they want to have like their building inside the game. They give me the tile, I'll put it in the grid, and then every wizard who quests inside this tile has a chance to loot something from their ecosystem. So it was really like a way to have a place where I can reunite a lot of the projects of the ecosystem, so they can play together and people can move around. So I was sure that this is the piece if there's one thing that I want to take, that I want to keep, it's this central piece of the puzzle, so to speak. So I've been actually reskinning the whole thing. It's not called Arcane anymore. Here it's called Odyssey, and it's we're staying in the space theme. So that's something you're familiar with. Actually, can I drop a link? Is there a chat that I can drop a link in?
Yeah, you have a channel on Discord, so you can drop it there, or you can also post it in general chat. It doesn't really matter.
Yes, well, I'll post it in general chat, but you guys can check out Star Odyssey altogether .xyz, and basically this is the new phase of the project. It's instead of it being inside 10 different zones with small grids, it's going to be a huge grid of probably 1,000 times 1,000, where everybody can come from the ecosystem, users, protocols, games. They can get a planet, a world of their own, like a home world, and they can customize it to a certain extent, giving it a name, giving it a lore, everything. I mean, the most that I'll manage to push on chain in terms of data. And also they come randomized with different types of planets, of worlds. There's about 9 different types at the moment, and with their own biome, which is going to have an impact on the resources produced, etc., etc. So there is really two main side to Odyssey. The first one is going to be the game that's actually being played on what I like to think as a big Dungeon and Dragon game that just lasts forever, right? Where it's supposed to be a game of control, of where we actually use this grid and the space for people to move around with their world, and for some type of narrative to emerge between the alliances of the players of the worlds and so on. So you'll be able to loot a certain type of material in certain zones. You'll have access to only certain zones depending on your planet level, etc., etc. And the second part of our Odyssey is really going to be this pushing for maximum interoperability between as many projects as possible and composability. So I'd like to have a system in place where, let's say you're a DAO, and you get your hands on 7 worlds, 7 planets. I'll be able to draw a geometry between all of these planets to get a shape, and then the protocol can just query all of the planets' owners' addresses that are standing inside this geometry. And the idea is to have some type of a new type of interaction to emerge, where like protocols and people can distribute themselves some resources, even resources outside of the game, just because the game has a certain state, so to speak. There's loads there's loads more detail to the gameplay, but that's going to come in the next weeks. Like, I'm still churning on a lot of stuff. What does that mean for me in terms of reskinning Arcane? Obviously, I'm rewriting all the contracts because it's not. I mean, I'm keeping some stuff, but it's quite different here. Each world can be seen as a wizard because they work the same, but there's few specificities, of course, for the theme and for the fact that the game is going to be played on one grid instead of 10 different ones. The first step is really going to nail this sentiment of customization, because the last bit of the project is really, as you can see on the website on the last paragraph, is to be a sandbox for storytelling, and not only to have these wars that are, or these competitions that are going to happen on the board, but also if you're an NFT project and you come up with this great lore and these great characters, it'd be amazing if they could just come in, get a world and make it their own a little bit, so it exists with all the other projects inside the grid, and they can start writing the story from there. This is like their planet. This is where they exist. They can have their own type of structure on it, and let the imagination flow from that point. So these are the main goals that I'm working towards. Obviously, I'll have much more concrete stuff in the upcoming weeks to show, since now it was really about nailing the concept, the brand, the image. There's still a lot of work to do. Also finding the right artist to bring it to life. Like, I've done a bit of the 3D that you see on the website, but my Blender skills are quite limited. So yeah, finding someone that will really push the boundaries to make it alive for the community. So yeah, I'm super excited. As Factimus knows how excited I am, and also I hope that this will, from Matchbox DAO, in the long run, be some kind of tool where everybody can meet each other inside the grid, and we make some cool narratives and history through it.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that as well, especially this kind of aspect of having these different game worlds and planets, and any project can basically just come in and claim one of them and build their stuff, their story, their narrative, their game on that planet. I think that has a ton of potential to be some kind of meta game, and then you will be able to forge alliances between projects and stuff like that. So yeah, super interesting and exciting concept, and I think this is probably a better approach than just porting Arcane over. Also, Miss, if you want to, you can actually share your screen and show the website, but only if you want to.
Yeah, I'll do a quick screen share. Hold on. No, that's the camera. There we go. So I don't know if you guys can see the website here.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, it should be pretty small for you guys, but yeah, this is like the main vibe of everything. Basically, it will start with the sparks that people can later exchange for their worlds that they're gonna mint with yeah, all types of worlds here. This is some representation of the grid. And yeah, just it's going to be a space team. So I see that a lot of people here are doing space team projects. So yeah, I find it super interesting. Hopefully, we can reach a high level of interoperability between our projects. Amitel, I've seen some of your planets. Hopefully, I could actually spawn them inside this grid, and they'll exist here as well. That's definitely an exciting goal to work toward. And also, while I'm sharing my screen, I got a representation here about how would it look to have this kind of these geometries between the planets. I don't know if you can see here. So yeah, it's really like also about building this tool, right? That communities can use to get lists of address, but in a new way. So they could do stuff within their protocol, within their NFT story, according to who's hanging out in their corner of the galaxy, basically.
Yeah, super cool concept. Thank you so much for presenting this and updating us on Odyssey and the reskin and everything that comes with it. And yeah, I really love with the concept of having different like worlds where projects can just come in. And like you mentioned, maybe we can make it work with like with NOGame to spawn the planets in the grid.
Yeah, definitely, and I'll need some help for sure. Like I'm still looking into the math to have the best like yeah, algorithms to go and query all those addresses around the planet. So that's something to dig in. On a 2D grid, what's the best way to cover these geometries?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll be happy to help you with that. I'm sure Alex will love this idea as well. So yeah, let's explore. Let's just explore.
And hopefully as well, Sam. I'm ready to integrate the guild system deep into this one. So that would be good to work together on that.
Yes, update coming next week on Wednesday. So hopefully I'm getting it ready for then, and we can have a first version.
Nice, exciting. Thank you, guys.
Awesome stuff, guys. Really excited. This is great. Yeah, so thank you so much, Mist, for the update. Thank you to everybody else who presented and discussed today. It's going great. I think some things are really taking shape lately, and yeah, let's keep at it. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, Actually, I have a small announcement before we go. We are having a Twitter space today in exactly 10 minutes. It's a special hackathon episode for our hackathon. It's about how to build a game on Starknet, like where to actually start. And we have Sil from Brig, we have Guilty Geosa from Topology, we have someone from Game 7, and we have Mist, who's building Odyssey, who was just on this call as guests, and they will be discussing how to get started building a game on Starknet. So if you're a hackathon participant, or if you're in general curious and want to hear from experienced builders who have some experience under their belt, then do make sure to join that. I'll post a quick announcement as well. So yeah, hope to see you there in 10 minutes. And that's it for today. Unless we have any questions, then we can wrap up this call. So thank you all for attending, for discussing and presenting. It's been great to see you on the Twitter Spaces, and have a great day.
See you guys.
Yeah.